This is an Irish cocktail. That's not a joke, that's what it's actually called. This week, let me show you how to make an Irish cocktail. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt, I'm the Whiskey Nerd, and like I said, this week I'm making an Irish cocktail. And the original recipe for the Irish cocktail comes from the 1900s, from Harry Johnson's Bartender's Manual Cocktail Book. And it's kind of like a sweet, herbal nightcap of a cocktail based on whiskey. And the whiskey I'm using right now is this one right here. This is the Teeling Small Batch Irish Whiskey. It's a blended whiskey, so it's malt and grain whiskey. Comes in at 46% ABV, so has a nice bit of heft, nice bit of weight, so it doesn't get overpowered by the other ingredients. But importantly, it was finished in rum casks. So it was aged in bourbon casks and finished in Caribbean rum casks, which gives it this nice kind of like sweetness, bit of tropical fruits, and really helps to like lighten up some of these cocktails where there's not a lot of sugar in it, because the other ingredients are only going to be used in very small quantities. We've got this here, the Luxardo Maraschino liqueur. This is a kind of like a cherry herbal liqueur. It's not like a kirsch or one of those cherry brandies that's very sweet. It's only kind of like a little bit sweet, more leaning into like the natural flavors of cherry and some herbal notes as well. Also using a little bit of triple sec. This is an orange liqueur from Monin. It comes in at, I believe, 20% ABV, yeah, 25% ABV, so it's quite a boozy cocktail coming through, but that gives you a little bit of sweetness as well as coming in from that maraschino liqueur and the Teeling small batch. Lastly, this is not orange bitters, despite what it says. This is a little bit of absinthe. This comes from the Rebel City Distillery down in Cork, and I just put a little bit of absinthe into an old Dasher bottle. I washed out the Dasher bottle, of course, and that lets me put in a little bit of absinthe into cocktails. And lastly, it is this Boker style bitters. If you can get the original Boker's bitters, there's a couple of brands kind of making what they call the original Boker's bitters. It's a cardamom style bitters kind of for Prohibition era cocktails. This is from the Fee brothers, and it's the cardamom Boker style bitters. But that's enough talking about the cocktail. I think it's time we make it. It is going to be a stirred drink, so we're going to get our mixing glass and we're going to pop a nice rock of ice into there before we measure out the rest of our ingredients. Starting off with our whiskey, we're going to go in with 45 ml or an ounce and a half of our Teeling small batch Irish whiskey, just into there like that. And then we're going to go in with the other ingredients. I wasn't kidding when I said there's very small amounts of these liqueurs going in. There's only 1.25 or 1.25 milliliters of these going in. And for this, I've got this kind of very precise measure from Difford's. I'll put a link to it down below. I'm not going to get any money from if you buy it, but it really has good gradations down in 1.25, 2.5 mil, 5 mil, 7.5. It's very good if you want to be precise with cocktails like this, where you just want a little bit of an ingredient to add a little bit of flavor. So I'm just going to go in very gently, just like that, and get 1.25 mil of my cherry liqueur before going in with my triple sec from Monin. This is an orange liqueur, again, a bit of sweetness, and again, just 1.25 mil of my, whoop, there it goes, of my triple sec into there before we go in with our absinthe and our cardamom Boker style bitters. So we're going to go in with just one dash of each into our mixing glass, one dash of absinthe and one dash of our Boker style bitters, and this is going to give us that kind of like herbal botanical note, kind of complementing the other flavors in the cocktail. So we're going to stir this down for about 30-35 seconds just to get it really nice and really cold. Okay, I think that is nicely chilled now, so I'm now ready to strain it out. I'm going to pop my strainer up top, and I'm going to get a nice little chilled Nick and Nora glass. It's not the biggest of cocktails in the world. I have seen this served in like sherry glasses or small glasses like that, but this is the, I think, a nicest glass I've got, just presenting it just like that. But it's not fully finished yet. We're going to go in with a garnish. We're going to start off with a little orange twist, express the oils over the top for just a little bit of extra citrus, and get an olive. This is a weird cocktail and then it has an olive as a garnish, but pop that into there, add a little bit of salinity, add a little bit of like a savory note, and that right there is how I make an Irish cocktail. Now real quick before I taste this cocktail, if you're new here, scroll down, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I put out whiskey reviews every Wednesday, like the review of the Teeling small batch and other whiskies. If you want to see more cocktail recipes, I put out cocktail recipes featuring whiskey every Friday, so make sure you hit subscribe. But right now, let's taste this cocktail. So it is definitely like a nightcap, like a sipper of a cocktail, because you've got a lot of booze going on. You've got like the whiskey, you've got the Luxardo liqueur, the triple sec, everything that goes into this, with the exception of the olive and those kind of like the orange oils, is alcoholic. And you actually get, despite that, you actually don't get a huge amount of like alcohol burn because you dilute it down, and there's a nice bit of like sweetness playing through, especially starting off with that kind of sweet Irish whiskey. It's definitely not one you would like down in one go, because it's quite a delicate flavor. Like that is an olive that was in the brine, so a little bit of saltiness, so adds like a touch of savory note. Like I'm getting a little bit almost like a savory, a little bit of salinity, but not enough to like overpower it. When I saw the garnish called for an olive, I was actually worried that the olive note, that salt, would overpower the rest of the cocktail, but it's actually quite delicate and just adds like adding salt to some things, like salted caramel, can help the other notes kind of shine a little bit more. The little bit of salinity actually helps it just be a little bit more balanced, actually. I think works out quite well. The little bit of the other sweetness, those herbal notes coming through, all play together really well. So I'm definitely going to keep on enjoying this, and I will see you next time. Sláinte.